Gabella Nelson is a biological sciences PhD student. Thank you so much for being with us. We have been so excited to talk to you about these biodegradable Mardi Gras beads. First of all, what are they made of?
So they're made from algae, specifically saltwater diatoms. So completely biodegradable, non-toxic. It's great.
So what would you imagine after people have all these beads? Do they just put them in water, or what do you do with them once you had all these beads?
So the plastic beads that we make, they're meant to biodegrade, like in the waterways where most of the beads are trapped. But I know the plastic ones there, still have bags in my closet from years ago. So hopefully we can just alleviate the issue of just so much plastic waste. So
That's interesting. So you're saying that most of the beads, like these plastic beads, actually do end up
mhm,
in waterways as opposed to,
yes,
in the trash.
yes. So the beads that we make them specifically to get stuck in the waterways. They'll erode in the water, they'll erode in the soil, or even if they're stuck up in the trees, they'll drop down into the waterways and eventually degrade.
Do you think people will have resistance switching from these plastic beads to your beads? What do they look like? Do they look like these? Do they feel like these? Will people even know a difference?
So people will definitely know a difference. So right now our diatom is brown. So it's not the usual shiny pink, green colors you're used to seeing, but now we're working on ways to dye them and make them more aesthetic. But people have been very interested. It's actually kind of funny. People actually want to keep our beads. They don't want to throw them away because it's just a cool thing to think about a biodegradable Mardi Gras.
Yeah, it is really cool, especially after years of doing the plastic ones. So where can
Mhm.
parade goers actually find these beads?
So we have them now in our lab. We're just giving them out. We're not selling them yet. I think we need to get a little bit bigger and a little bit more efficient. But once we're there, maybe even next year, we could start selling them. So you could just contact us at the Cato Lab here at LSU.
You guys need your own float.
And speaking
That
of
would be
you,
so cool.
that
I've
would be
never
so.
been on a boat.
Oh, that would be really cool. Didn't you have that in some of the parades, though? They were throwing out the biodegradable beads
Yes.
this year.
So we gave them to the crew of Tux and crew of Ferret, I believe, last year. And so that's what the reception was. It was really good reception. People didn't want to throw them away. They wanted to keep them. So in that way, it became more of a symbol of what we could do for plastic waste in Mardi Gras,
Yeah.
more of just about, making a real difference last year because everybody wanted to keep them. Nobody was throwing them
So
away, but
funny.
it's definitely a step in the right direction for sure.
So you've made about 500 of these, and you mentioned people already want to keep them. What is your plan
Yes.
to scale this up? How big do you expect this to get?
So we have a perfect process. I mean, I guess we can go just as big as the demand needs. So right now, we've really fine-tuned our harvesting, growing process. We have a plastic production company that's local here in Lafayette. So it's just a means of, are people ready to take it in the right
Yeah.
direction? So we're ready to scale up and get going for sure,
Bella,
especially for next year.
how long does it take for these to biodegrade? I don't remember. It was either 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I remember there was like bad flooding because some of the bees were actually clogging up some of the drains and
Right.
whatnot. How quickly do these actually dissolve?
So it could take between like 4 and 8 months, depending on, we can make different blends, how biodegradable, how long do you want them to last? So depending on the demand of how long people want to keep the beads or how quickly we need them to degrade, that's always something we can tweak out in the lab if we need more algae to make it
Yeah.
degrade faster, or do we want to add a little bit more synthetic plastic to make it look prettier? But it's really important, especially in New Orleans, they're prone to hurricanes. Like this is something that is very, very important to their waterways.
I love how many options you have of places that you
Yeah.
can go with this. And I know this is of course an amazing start, and you're starting with the beads, but do you have any plans? I'm thinking maybe expanding out to other things that they throw at Mardi Gras, because a lot of it is
Yes.
plastic and a lot of it is not biodegradable.
Yes. So we've played with some doubloons, the big coins that they look like. So we can make those, but we can really make anything because, once we design the mold and then the plastic production company has the mold and we give them the biomass, it's just a matter of what do the people want. So we can really make anything.
That's incredible. Gabella Nelson, add another girl crush to my list. Biological scientist, PhD student at LSU. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
teaching us about these new beads.